Hey guys, what's up? Evo Raymond McLean for life, and I'm back for more Kurt Russell movie reviews. And today I'm gonna review and talk about his John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. Was released July 2nd, 1986. By the way, I love this poster art so much. Love this movie to death. And it's actually my second favorite Kurt Russell film. My favorite is Tango and Cash. This is right there. I love Big Trouble Little China. Was directed by horror master John Carpenter himself, and this is gonna be my first review on John Carpenter. I wanted to review this movie 2 years ago when my dad was forced to go into a retire home. He could not live with me anymore, and I remember that time. I was actually start driving with a bus, because before I didn't. And I remember watching this movie, and I love the music score by John Carpenter. This was the final John Carpenter movie that he did in the 80s for the studio. Well, he did for 20th Century Fox, because Prince of Darkness and They Live, both of them were actually independent movies. They weren't making for studio because studio mostly interfered. Now, the studio 20th Century Fox, they actually wanted this movie to be, in the Western. It's supposed to be a Western movie. But but John Carpenter wanted something different. He wanted this movie to be a modern, this time, not Western, not in the Old West. He wanted a modern film in the present, and he wanted to do a kung fu movie, because this is actually a science fiction fantasy kung fu action movie. And Big Trouble Little China is one of the greatest movies of all time. And this is my retrospective review on John Carpenter and his movie, because he's a master of horror. He's a king. He's the best of the best. And when the studio hired him, that time they were actually rushing with the Golden Child with Eddie Murphy, because it weird similar to tone and similar to theme, and they rushed that this movie should be released before the Golden Child hit the theaters. And honestly, this movie is better than the Golden Child. I actually love this movie more. I love this movie to death, and like I said, it's my second favorite movie of all time from Kurt Russell. Actually, it's my favorite movie, and I love dearly to death. I saw this movie as a kid on TV, and Kurt Russell is still one of my favorite action stars. But like I said, this is my second favorite Kurt Russell film. Tango and Cash is my favorite he did. This is my second favorite, and I love both the films. My top three films are Tango and Cash, this movie Big Trouble Little China, and of course Unlawful Entry, which I have not reviewed yet. I'm still waiting for the Blu-ray. This is my favorite John Carpenter film. It used to be my favorite Kurt Russell film, but I put Tango and Cash above, because I love that he's a badass cop. This movie, he's actually a trucker, Jack Burton, and he's a cocky, wisecracking truck driver who drives a car, who drives a truck for the for the Pork Chop Express. He drives a truck for the Pork Chop Express. He has to do delivery in Chinatown in San Francisco, and there when the trouble starts begin. Kurt Russell's best movie in my opinion. Jack Burton's one of my favorite characters he actually ever did. My favorite will be still Gabe Cash, and Jack Burton's my favorite. Now, Kurt Russell and John Carpenter, they did 5 movies together. This was actually their 4th movie together. And the first one was Elvis. I had not seen that movie. It was biographical drama. Now another movie came out with the same title, with Tom Hanks in it and another actor, which was almost 3 hours long. I have not watched that movie, but my friend watched it in movie theater, so he said the movie was really good. He really liked it. I'm not into Elvis movies, But yeah, Elvis from 1979 was the first movie. It was a TV movie that John Carpenter and Kurt Russell did. And Kurt Russell played Elvis Presley, the legendary rock star. Rest in peace, Elvis. And the second movie they actually did was Escape from New York, which is another classic. The third one was The Thing, which everyone loves. The Thing is a horror, master horror classic. And that was their third movie. This is the fourth one. Big Travel to China is the fourth one, and the fifth one that they actually did was Escape from LA, which was a sequel to Escape from New York, and it was the fifth movie they actually did together. Now, Kurt Russell admitted that he was afraid that this movie will flop because he did a lot of movies and they all flopped in the box office, and he told that to his friend John Carpenter. John Carpenter said, "It doesn't matter to me. I just want to work with you, And over the years, Big Travel to China still became one of the biggest classic films ever. It's one of my favorite action films of all time, top 30, and I just thought that Kurt Russell is a badass. I just love him so much, and I have to say that I really love this poster art, We're allowed to have this poster. This is actually a theatrical poster on this Blu-ray, but I love the poster, And Kurt Russell, he pulled it off. Now, the story is John Carpenter wrote that actually Jack Burton, he's not the hero of the story. It's actually Wang Chi, played by Dennis Dunn. He's the hero, and Jack Burton, he's only a sidekick because he gets swinged into this Chinese, war, or this between the sorcerers and the magic. And there are also three lightnings in this movie, and you have a kung fu in this movie, you have a comedy, a fantasy, action, and the stories of the Chinese ghosts, the supernatural, and he's swept in the supernatural, and there are also these creature features, monsters in this movie, and there are also three storms. I think they actually wears to similarity and the tone to Raiden by Mortal Kombat. Those three lightnings. But Big Travel to China is such one of the greatest films of all time, and John Carpenter, he's the master of he actually is the master of the horror. He's the king, and he beautifully directed this movie, and this is one of my all-time favorite movies ever, of all time. Love this movie to death. And it's one of the greatest movies ever. I heard that for years it's actually been a remake. It's actually been developed with Dwayne Johnson, and I read that Dwayne Johnson, this is actually his favorite movie, and he wants to play Jack Burton. I hope they don't do that the sequel, or the remake. I hope they don't do a remake, because this movie does not need a sequel or remake. And for a while, it was talk about, Roadhouse remake with Ronda Rousey from this movie, in the back, with Patrick Swayze. I'm glad it never happened. I'm glad this never happened. But yeah, Big Travel to China does not need a remake or a sequel, And like I said, Gabriel Gabe Cash, Lieutenant Gabriel Gabe Cash, and Jack Burton are my favorite characters. And yes, Kurt Russell started in a movie Escape from New York. I love his character Snake Plissken, and I also love his character like R.J. McGreedy from The Thing. But to me, my favorite character, John Carpenter, my favorite character he actually played is this character, Jack Burton. That's my favorite John Carpenter film. And it's entertaining. It's one of the greatest action movies. It's a kung fu, it's a sci-fi, it's an action. And I just love this movie to death. Also, the music score is done by John Carpenter. And I love his music score. Listen to music score on his 70s movie, Assault on Precinct 13. from 1976. I love the music score. And also he did the music score, especially he did a soundtrack on the end, Big Trouble Little China. I just love that. This was written was by Gary Goldman and David Weinstein. Adaptation by V.W. Richter. Can write this. But yeah, it was Gary Oldman, David Weinstein. They actually wrote the screenplay for this movie. It was PG-13. This movie should be rated R, not PG-13. But even at PG-13 rating, this movie still delivers. Delivers the goods. It's a great badass film. Now I've been talking this 10 minutes about the behind the story. But before I go to the story, and then later I go to the cast, I actually heard, James Hong still praises John Carpenter. I actually even saw the interview from Peter Kwan. He plays Rain. That's actually him. He plays Rain this movie. He also said that it was really enjoyable working with. John Carpenter. I mean, everyone in the cast that worked in this movie praised John Carpenter's direction, his vision. It was just beautiful what they did, And I always love. I watch every year. I watch this movie because so beautiful it is. Now, Big Trouble Little China. My retrospective is the story. So Jack Burton, first of love his lines. He's actually a cocky wisecracking truck driver who drives a truck. He drives this truck for the Pork Chop Express. He drives a truck. He works for the Pork Chop Express. He has to make a delivery to. He has to make the delivery to China in San Francisco. While there, he meets his friend. He goes in. He meets his friend Wang Chi, which they both gambled. They both have this gambler streak, and of course Jack Burton wins. And of course, Wang owes him $170. I'm not sure, but I think they actually both bet, and of course Wang lost because he owes him money. Wang he wants to go. Wang he wants to go to the airport to wait on his fiancée. I forgot the girl's name. Mao Yin, played by Suzy Pai. She plays Mao Yin. She's actually the girlfriend and the fiancée of Wang. While waiting on the airport, Jack notices this girl, Gracie Lau, played by Kim Cattrall. That's her. That's her by Kim Cattrall. He noticed her. Then a Chinese gang shows up on the airport, and they were called Lords of Death, which they should not be there, but that's kind of weird, Lords of Death. So while Miao Yin shows up, she gets kidnapped, on the airport, and one of the guys attacks Kurt Russell, and the other one uses that roundhouse kick and knocks him down, and of course, this gang kidnaps the girl and they escape with the car. And I love that in parking garage, that Jack Burton jumps, saves Wang, and I love his line, "Son of a bitch must pay." I just love his line, So they try to find out, they try to track down this gang, Lords of Death. They showed up in this alley, which they're actually two gangs. They're actually two gangs, and two Chinese, warrior societies, two gangs who fight each other. The Chang Sing are actually the good gang. They're the good. They're not bad. They're the good. And of course, Wing Kong, which are the bad. They're evil. And both of them, they're actually in the alley. They both of them in the alley. They actually witness the fights. Between them until three storms shows up. And three storms are actually they're actually magicians. I think that I thought I wrote down, but I guess I forgot. There are actually three magicians, which they call the three storms, and they are thunder, rain, and lightning. There are three actually storms of magicians, which they wear to similary. That's one of the storms they wear similarity to. They actually all wear similarity to Raiden in Mortal Kombat, but yeah, that's actually three storms. And that time, when Wang said just go, they actually all go. Jack goes with the truck. He's David Lo Pan. He's a old sorcerer. He's actually an ancient Chinese sorcerer, a magician. He's evil, he's not flesh. He's not out of flesh and blood. He's been cursed by Chinese Emperor Qin Shi Huang. I think he was evil, and he kidnaps Mao Yin because she has a girl with green eyes, and if he pleases his emperor, he will become once again our flesh and blood, and not some mystical ghost or supernatural force. He's gonna become our flesh and blood. He's gonna conquer and continue conquering our earth, and that's a bad news. And he needs a girl with green eyes so he can marry her. Then he has to sacrifice her in order to break the curse, so he can rule once again. He can rule once again the earth. Just like Vigo tried to do in Ghostbusters 2. So he kidnaps this girl. Jack decides to help Wang, his friend, to get the girl back. And of course they go to this restaurant. There's like Uncle Chu who says, China is down here, Mr. Burton. What is that supposed to? What the hell is that supposed to be? I just love that, And of course they meet Gracie Law, played by Kim Cattrall. She's actually an attorney. She's actually an attorney. She actually is an attorney, and she was protecting that girl on the airport, and they try, they actually try to save her, and of course Gracie Lau decides to help them. She meets our reporter Margot, and of course Jack goes undercover in the border, try to get, Chinese border, try to get the girl Mao Ying back, but she's been once again kidnapped by by one of those lightnings, three storms. By the three storms. By three storms. They actually were all kidnapped. She was kidnapped once again. So they decide to found, David Lo Pan, and they go to this warehouse. Chang and Jack, they go to this warehouse, and of course they actually go in this elevator, and both of them, they both of them are captured. They have to fight through the legends, ghosts, through storms, and like Jack's truck is also stolen. I forgot, there's a lot of martial arts. They actually, at the end of the story, Jack helps Wang, to get the girl back. And he prevents the evil, among us with the help of his friends, the Sings, Egg Shen, played by Victor Wong, rest in peace, and of course, Wang, because Wang was actually the hero of the story. He was more a sidekick, but actually he's the hero, in my opinion, because John Carpenter had in mind that Jack Burton is actually a sidekick, while Wang is a hero. But to me, Jack Burton is a hero. And yeah, there's a lot of comedy, when Jack, he drinks some potion, some mystical potion, and when they go to the battle, everyone starts screaming and they go to fight, and Jack, he grabs his weapon, Jack grabs his weapon, Tech 9, 9.9 millimeter, and he goes, and he shoots at the rocks, knocks his ass down. It's a badass scene, or when Jack, he kisses Gracie, and then when Lopan tries to sacrifice the girl, when he gets married, and Thunder says, Master, you are flesh and blood, something like that, And I love when Jack, throws the knife, misses him. The guy, throws the knife, and Jack catches the knife, throws it right in the forehead, kills David Lopan, and all the statue breaks down. Just a badass scene. Or there's this guy, and Jack goes shoots those bunch of bad guys with his 9mm, like a badass he is. Or he jumps, and saves David Dunn. He goes and saves him, and he says, "Son of a bitch must pay." I love his last lines, when he sees, Lopan and Thunder, and he goes right there, and he says, what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this? Who? Jack Burton, me! Old Jack always says, what the hell? I just love the line, old Jack always says, what the hell? Or I love his other lines, I was born ready. I like I told my last wife, I say, honey, I never drive faster than I can see. Besides that, it's all in the reflex. I just love that. And there's a lot I love the special effects by how they did the special effects for the creature, like a wild man creature, orangutan. I love that. I love the costumes. Or I love the special effects by the practical special effects by Richard Edlund. They're great, the special effects. Or I love the scene when Wang, knows martial arts, and Jack, his gun is empty. He forgets to reload, and Wang goes like a badass he is, and he jumps, kicks everyone's ass. He uses those flying kicks everyone's ass. And Jack jumps with the gun, with the knife, and everything too late in the warehouse. Or when Wang, he grabs the shotgun and wears on the guy's head, and two bitches shows up, tries to hit both of them. They go kicks everyone's ass. They actually knock them down, guns, and they all go into fight. I love that scene, a badass scene. It's just awesome, how martial arts were great. And and of course, Dennis Dunn, he really did train martial arts. He did know how to fight, so that was for real. Mostly in this movie was for real. I thought that Kurt Russell was a badass, I love his line, "Son of a bitch must pay. I was born ready." You know what old Jack always says at a time like this? Who? Jack Burton, me. Old Jack always says, "What the hell?" I just love that, You know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this? Who? Jack Burton, me. Old Jack always says, "What the hell?" I just love that. I love that he's a trucker. I love that he's a human being like me and you. My retrospective is on Kurt Russell, and I love that he has a gun. I love that he has the jeans. I love his beautiful picture and that in his hand. I love his poster art. King Cattrall was awesome this movie. Victor Wong, who plays action, another bus driver. Actually, he's a magician, a sorcerer. He's a good guy. He's a good thing. He fights Lupin. I love special effects. I also love the guy who plays Thunder. Because when Jack Burton kills him, he throws the knife in the forehead. And that guy shows up, all pissed off, because his master's dead. And then he turns around from the special effects. He became like all fat. And then he explodes to pieces. Oh my god, that's awesome. Richard Allen did fantastic special effects. Or this orangutan creature feature was awesome. Jack knocks the guys down. Or this guy who has a vision, this creature. And Dan goes and stabs him. Or I love the scene, I don't know how, I think they actually filmed with wire when David Dunn and the guy, his attacker, the guy Lightning, played by James Sparks, goes, and we have a great sword fight. And I love the John Carpenter's theme song, and then Dennis Dunn Dennis Dunn goes, and he turns it out, throws the knife, the sword, and stabs Lightning gets killed. He kills himself, which is awesome. Or I forgot to mention when Rain uses, that magic power, in which he closed the portal, when his master and Mao-Yin try to escape. I just love that, they show the statue of him, he gets killed. Or when Thunder gets blown to pieces, which is awesome. It's just awesome. I mean, I love the film, when these three storms kills all these two gangs, this gang, the Sings, they kill them, one of them hides, they both, Jack and Wang, try to escape. Now Lords of Death try to kill them, they try to escape once again. Or when David Lupin, throws some magic in Jack's eyes and Jack gets blinded, just love that. I did not go so much into trivia about the film, but I know that John Carpenter wanted to do a kung fu movie, and when he saw Jackie Chan in Police Story, he asked Jackie Chan a few times if he would accept the role of Wang, but Jackie Chan refused not to do it. I don't know why, I don't give a fuck about him, but he did not refuse to do it, so Dennis Dunn accepted the role, which was awesome. I thought Dennis Dunn was much better than Jackie Chan. Anyway, I'm surprised that, that Jackie Chan, also when he did City Hunter, he went and he completely dissed that film. He completely trashed that film, trashed the director, which I loved City Hunter. And I also remember when the director, he actually made, made a Jackie Chan into a drunk womanizer and a lazy martial artist. Jackie Chan was pissed off. That was High Risk, Aka Down by Jet Li. I love that movie too. It was just awesome. Jackie Chan always takes offense, he always takes grudges, always takes offense, because in my opinion it looks like, because he offended the director for that movie with Jet Li. He also did not want to be in John Carpenter film. But I don't know what the fuck was Jackie Chan's problem. Was his ego problem? But I'm glad that he lost, such opportunity. Because I'll say Big Trouble in China is better than his police story, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. People will disagree. But I just thought that this movie was so badass film. I love the lines. Victor Wong was such a great, the cast. Gracie Lau, played by Kim Cattrall, was so great. I love her costume. She was great as love interest for Kurt Russell. She was so great. The action sequences are awesome. The fantasy, the kung fu was just awesome. Dennis Dunn was fantastic, I mean, I think there is a stuntman who makes those flip sides, but Dennis Dunn, he goes and he moves, so fast. I think that Dennis Dunn and James Sparks had to be both of them with the wire when we have a great sword fight. And I just love, the Jack goes and he knocks himself down with the rocks. Shoots and the rocks falls on him. It was awesome. There's a scene when Kurt Russell jumps on this guy, Light Thunder, played by Carter Wong's back, and he holds his knife, the second time. And he keeps, and the guy keeps, getting fat, and Kurt Russell jumps on a wheelchair and he starts running down, the hill, with the back, and he catches on the, he goes and catches himself, before he would land, in the cliff, in the death. He saves himself with a wheelchair. I love that scene. I love the scene on the end, when Jack Burton, when he's a hero now, he gets the money, triple, and, Margot says, God, are you gonna kiss her goodbye? And Kurt Russell, like a pure badass, he says, nope, and he leaves. He's a badass. I love Kurt Russell's best performance, in my opinion. Great direction by John Carpenter. Great special effects by Richard Edlund. Great music score by John Carpenter. Great quotes. Great outliners. Great martial arts action. Badass. That's my retrospective. That's retrospective review. Badass film. Now, this movie was a box office flop, which I forgot to mention. Cost $25 million, but it made worldwide $11 million. Opening weekend was $2,723,211 million in US and Canada. That was only $2 million they earned, while it went worldwide $11 million, $100.577 million. And yeah, it was a box office flop. And when this movie came out, people didn't like it. When The Thing came out, people didn't like it, and now they do. By the time it didn't, and it's too bad that it was a box office flop, because this movie did not deserve to be a box office flop. Tango & Cash made more money than this movie, but still, I'll say Big Trouble to China is almost good as it's actually good as Tango & Cash, because they both, I love this movie to death. And I love Tango & Cash, and I love Big Trouble in China, and they're two Kurt Russell's best movies in my opinion. And I love this movie dearly to death. I love the costume, his gun, his awesome gun, Tech 9.9mm submachine gun. I love that. I love his great t-shirt, his jeans, his boots. how he wears. I love his outlines, love his truck, and I love Kim Cattrall. She did a great job. Kim Cattrall did a great job as Gracie Lowe. Victor Wong, rest in peace as Shen. Also, I forgot to mention, but the movie, there's a similarity song from Escape from New York with John Carpenter. When the bus shows up, you can hear the similar music score from Escape from New York, So yeah, it weird similarity between those two songs. Donald Lee played Eddie Lee. He played a friend of Wang Chi. Dennis Dan was great as the hero Wang Chi. Like a badass martial artist. I love that. I also don't know why Dennis Dan was not on this poster. Why he never was on any of the poster. I don't get it. Why Dennis Dan was not on none of those posters. But I love three lightning, three storms. Like Carter Wong, who plays Thunder. He blows himself, then he explodes. Peter Kwan as Rain, and of course James Parks. And James Hong's probably favorite role, he's looking for a girl, a Chinese girl with a green eyes. He's looking a girl with a green eyes. He tries to become a god on this earth. He tries to rule this earth. And Jack Burton's the only one that stops him. He saves Wang's life. He goes and he saves the girl. He actually saves both the girls. He kisses Gracie Lowe. He's a real hero in my opinion. I don't know. I love the song on the end. Which was soundtrack by John Carpenter. Big Trouble, Little China, and hear the thunder. It was just really sad. I actually was sad when this movie ended. When Jack goes to the storm and there's this monster on his back of the truck, and the movie ends. And I wish we'll see more adventures of Jack Burton. Sadly, we don't know what happened next, and the monster on his truck shows up. That orangutan man, crazy wild. What happened next? And we could got an explanation, but nothing happened. But yeah, I love this movie dearly to death. Love Big Trouble in Little China, John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. And the open scene is also Jenny Hardin from the X-Files, who plays a lawyer, wants to find out about the story with Egg Shen. When Egg Shen defends Jack Burton, we own him, or Egg Shen leaves, in the end. But I'll say that Victor Wong and Kurt Russell are to me the best one. And then I'll say Gracie Lowe, but no, actually I prefer Kurt Russell and Victor Wong. Victor Wong was in Three Ninjas. He was also in Prince of Darkness. He was in numerous films. He passed away. I really miss the actor. But yes, James Hong's favorite movie, definitely from him. He praises the director. John Carpenter did a fantastic direction. But yeah, that's my retrospective review on Big Trouble in Little China. If you wonder what is retrospective, is actually the special effects from Richard Edlund, the martial arts, the acting performance by Kurt Russell, Victor Wong, James Hong, and of course Kim Cattrall, and those three storms, those three sorcerers who are storms, who wear the similarity to Mortal Kombat, Thunder, Rain, Lightning, Carter Wong, Peter Kwong, and James Parks. That performance, the outliners, and I just love, what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this. Who? Jack Burton. Me. Old Jack always says, what the hell? I just love that, Son of a bitch must pay. I was born ready. Son of a bitch must pay. Like I told my last wife, I says, honey, I never drive faster than I can see. Besides that, it's all in the reflex. I just love that. Anyway, that's my retrospective movie review on Big Trouble in Little China, which came out in 1986, July 2nd. Thanks for watching. Take care and have a good Saturday. I'm out. Peace. Bye-bye.